Tyler Perry, actor, producer, writer. To achieve success, he had to break all barriers.
Just like this one.
Barrier number one, physical abuse. Tyler Perry grew up in New Orleans with his mother and Emmett Perry, the man he believed to be his biological father. Emmett was an abusive alcoholic who routinely subjected Perry to brutal beatings. One particularly traumatic incident involved being whipped with a vacuum cord so severely that it ripped the skin from his back. Perry described his childhood as a living hell, stating, "I don't think I ever felt safe or protected as a child." By the age of 10, Perry had been SA'd by 4 adults, 3 men, and 1 woman, all of whom were family acquaintances. He has described these experiences as being taken advantage of, noting, "I didn't know what was going on or the far-reaching effects of it. I just moved through it." The abuse left him confused about his identity and deeply scarred emotionally. The constant abuse led to depression, insecurity, and a sense of isolation. Perry often hid under the porch of his house, using his imagination to escape to a world without fear. He has said, "Holding on was hurting me more than him," referring to the pain of carrying these memories into adulthood. How he overcame it. During his darkest moments, Perry used his imagination to mentally escape the abuse. He would hide and create stories in his mind, which later became the foundation for his writing and storytelling career. Perry's mother took him to church and instilled in him a deep religious faith. He credits this faith as his North Star, providing hope and a sense of purpose when he felt lost. Inspired by an episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show, Perry began journaling as a form of therapy. This practice allowed him to process his pain and eventually led to the creation of his first plays, where he channeled his trauma into characters and stories that resonated with audiences. A major turning point for Perry was learning to forgive his father. He realized that holding on to anger and pain was only hurting himself. Through prayer and self-reflection, he let go of the resentment, saying, "Once I let it go, I literally felt lighter inside." This forgiveness freed him from the emotional weight of his past. Perry chose to speak publicly about his abuse, both to liberate himself and to support others who had suffered similar trauma. By breaking the silence, he helped reduce stigma and encouraged other survivors to seek healing. Barrier number 2, poverty and instability. Perry grew up in poverty-stricken New Orleans, enduring not only financial hardship but also severe abuse at home. His family life was so turbulent that his mother once attempted to flee with Perry and his siblings, but their father reported the car stolen, leading to the family being jailed until he retrieved them. Perry did not complete high school but later earned his GED. As a young adult, he drifted between jobs and struggled to find stability. As a young adult, he worked low-wage jobs, drifted from job to job, and struggled to find stability. When he moved to Atlanta to pursue his dream of becoming a playwright, he spent his life savings to stage his first play, I Know I've Been Changed, only to face empty seats and financial ruin. For years, he continued to stage the play to mostly empty audiences, at times becoming homeless and living out of his car. How he overcame it. Despite repeated failures and years of financial struggle, Perry refused to give up. He worked odd jobs to support himself while continually investing in his creative projects. For 6 years, he staged his play to small audiences, learning from each experience and slowly building a following. Inspired by advice from Oprah Winfrey about the therapeutic power of writing, Perry began journaling about his life. These writings became the foundation for his first play, allowing him to process his trauma and turn it into art with a message of hope and forgiveness. Oprah Winfrey inspired Tyler Perry from the very beginning of his career. Perry credits Oprah with motivating him to become a writer and media mogul, citing her as a role model for what was possible for a Black creative in America. A pivotal moment came in 2005 when Oprah invited Perry to her Legends Ball. Being in the presence of accomplished Black icons at Oprah's home made Perry realize he could dream a bigger dream, profoundly shifting his ambitions and self-belief. Beyond business, Oprah and Perry share a deep friendship built on honesty and mutual respect. They established ground rules to ensure their business dealing never compromised their personal relationship, always committing to open communication. Perry's philanthropic efforts have inspired Oprah, and she has credited him with motivating her own charitable responses, such as during the COVID-19 pandemic. Perry's experiences became the driving force behind his work. He created characters like Medea, inspired by his mother, and wrote stories that addressed themes of survival, faith, and resilience. His success in entertainment became a testament to his ability to transform pain into creative power and inspiration for others. After 6 years of setbacks, his play finally sold out in Atlanta, marking the turning point in his career. Barrier number 3: lack of industry support. Perry was largely dismissed by Hollywood's old guard and repeatedly turned down by theater and film executives, even after his stage plays found success with live audiences. Critics and industry insiders doubted the commercial viability of his work, especially since he did not fit the mold of a traditional filmmaker. He didn't attend film school or have industry connections. With no access to industry funding or support, Perry worked odd jobs and used personal savings to finance his early plays. He staged I Know I've Been Changed for 7 years to mostly empty theaters, often facing financial ruin and periods of homelessness. Each time he failed, he returned to work, saved up, and tried again, refusing to give up on his vision. How he overcame it. Rather than waiting for industry approval, Perry focused on connecting directly with underserved Black audiences, whose stories and experiences were rarely represented on stage or screen. He tailored his work to resonate with these communities, eventually filling theaters and creating a loyal fan base that Hollywood could not ignore. Perry maintained creative and financial control over his work, self-producing his plays and later his films. When studios rejected his movie pitches, he financed and released them independently. His first film, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, was a box office hit despite critical dismissal, proving the power of his audience-first approach. In 2006, Perry opened Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta, becoming the first Black man to own a major film studio outright. This gave him unprecedented creative freedom and allowed him to provide opportunities for other Black creatives, further bypassing traditional industry barriers. Perry's partnership with Oprah Winfrey's OWN network was built on mutual respect and a shared vision, not on industry validation. By producing original content for OWN, he helped transform the network and reached even wider audiences. Barrier number 4: lingering pain. Perry has described never feeling safe or protected as a child, living in a household where violence and unpredictability were constant. This trauma left him with deep psychological wounds, leading to years of turmoil, anger, and emotional suppression well into his teens and 20s. Perry endured severe physical abuse from his father, who would beat him with objects like a vacuum cord, leaving him bloodied and traumatized. Emotional abuse was constant, with his father using mind games and cruelty, making Perry feel unsafe and unprotected throughout his childhood. Perry's mother tried to shield him, but was herself a victim of domestic violence, compounding the instability and pain in the household. How he overcame it. Perry eventually chose to speak openly about his abuse, breaking the silence that often surrounds childhood trauma, especially for Black men, for whom discussing vulnerability and pain is frequently taboo. By sharing his story publicly, including in interviews with Oprah Winfrey and People magazine, Perry not only began his own healing process but also encouraged others to confront and process their pain. Perry credits his spiritual life and faith as central to his healing. His mother introduced him to church and prayer, which gave him a sense of hope and a place to turn during dark times. He has said that faith, prayer, and believing in something greater than himself helped him endure and ultimately heal from his trauma. Writing became a therapeutic outlet for Perry. He began journaling as a way to process his pain, which grew into writing plays and stories that reflected his experiences. By transforming his trauma into art, Perry not only found personal catharsis, but also created works that resonated deeply with audiences who had faced similar struggles. A major turning point in Perry's healing was learning to forgive his abusers, especially his father. He realized that holding on to anger and resentment was only hurting himself. Through forgiveness, Perry found emotional freedom, stating that he felt lighter inside after letting go of the pain. Though not always formally, Perry engaged in self-reflection and therapeutic practices, such as narrative therapy, telling his own story, reframing his experiences, and assigning new, healthier meanings to his past. This process helped him move beyond shame and self-blame. Beyond entertainment, Perry is known for his philanthropy and activism, supporting social justice causes and providing relief during crises. His journey from poverty and homelessness to industry icon is widely seen as a testament to the power of perseverance, faith, and using one's pain to uplift others. I've never chased money. It's always been about what I can do to motivate and inspire people. Barrier number 5, troubled upbringing. Tyler Perry grew up with a father he describes as awful, lacking emotional support and positive parenting. This left Perry uncertain and anxious about how to be a good father himself. He openly admitted, "I worry because I didn't have an example, because this man was just awful, right?" This generational trauma created a significant emotional barrier, as Perry wanted to avoid repeating the negative patterns he experienced. How he overcame it. Perry made a deliberate decision to parent in the opposite way of his own father. He described this as "do it in reverse," showing love, encouragement, and support while providing discipline in a loving and constructive manner. "I show my son love and encouragement, and I stand with him when he's wrong. I straighten him up. I chastise him the right way so that he understands that the correction is done in love." Everything that man didn't do. Perry is intentional about not spoiling his son, despite his wealth. He limits gifts, avoids lavish privileges, and insists on flying coach, aiming to instill the value of effort and reward. He wants Amon to grow up understanding the importance of character, not entitlement. Perry has said, "I want him to have as normal a life as he can. I want him to know what it's like to have his own name and his own life and not have the pressure of trying to live up to whatever or whoever your father was." Perry keeps Amon out of the spotlight, refusing to share his image publicly and shielding him from the pressures of celebrity life. This helps Amon develop his own identity free. Perry and his ex-partner Jelala Bekele maintain a united front in raising Amon, ensuring consistent values and boundaries even after their separation. Perry is committed to having honest conversations with Amon, especially about challenging subjects like race, but waits until his son is ready to process them, preserving his innocence as long as possible. And lastly, barrier number 6, business failures. Perry's faith was a crucial source of strength. He credits his mother for instilling faith in him, which helped him endure hardship and maintain hope for a better future. Even when homeless, he listened to audience members who were touched by his work, which motivated him to keep going. In 1998, after years of struggle, Perry's play finally sold out and moved to Atlanta's Fox Theater, launching his career. His success allowed him to uplift others, both through the empowering themes of his work and his later philanthropy, helping those facing poverty and instability. Perry maintained creative and financial control over his work, eventually becoming the sole owner of Tyler Perry Studios. This not only secured his own financial stability, but also created opportunities for others in his community. Perry's first play, "I Know I've Been Changed," repeatedly failed. He invested his life savings to stage the play, but audiences didn't come, and he lost all his money. For 6 years, every production flopped, leaving him broke and at times homeless. The constant rejection and financial ruin made Perry want to give up. He questioned his calling and struggled with discouragement, praying for guidance but feeling abandoned when nothing seemed to work. Perry's play dealt with themes of abuse, forgiveness, and healing, mirroring his own life. However, the message didn't fully resonate with audiences at first because, as Perry later realized, he hadn't yet personally processed or lived the forgiveness he was writing about. The authenticity was missing. How he overcame it. Despite years of failure, Perry refused to give up. He continued to stage his play, revising and improving it after each setback. His faith played a crucial role, sustaining him through hardship and giving him the strength to keep going, even when he felt alone and discouraged. A turning point came when Perry confronted his own pain and forgave his father for years of abuse. This act of forgiveness allowed him to internalize the message of his play, making his performances more authentic and emotionally resonant. When he finally accepted the words he had written and truly forgave, the play began to connect with audiences on a deeper level. I had accepted the words I had written. I had forgiven my father. The show wasn't hypocritical anymore. It was coming from a very real place, and it started to resonate with people on a different level. In 1998, after years of struggle, Perry gave his play one last try. This time, something had changed. He was performing from a place of genuine healing and forgiveness. The community responded. The play sold out at the House of Blues in Atlanta, then at the Fox Theater, and soon after, Perry took his show nationwide. Perry learned to view failure not as a defeat, but as a lesson and a necessary step toward success.
Remember to watch all the episodes on this.
I hope to see you again.
And remember, to achieve your goals, you must
Break all barriers.